Well, here's the 70 Mustang. After doing a little more review on some of the damage that I found, I know I discussed this earlier about the cowl and what the condition it was in, and I had shown these holes and repair work that was under here. I talked to the owner, and the decision was made to replace the cowl assembly now that they're available. This is a bit different than the 65 or 6 because 65 and 6, the vent panel up here is part of the structure. In these cars, it unbolts, so you have access to it. So of course your wipers mount here and here, but you can pull the rods out from inside, which I've already done. I've also removed the steering column, give me a little more access. There's plastic panels that go right here that I've removed. In fact, that's what these are over here, these panels. Remove those. There's a column. And I'm going to take this, work on cutting off this whole panel today. This upper section here, well, inner and outer pieces. So you'll have the top panel and the bottom panel, which now come as an assembly. And I picked this up from Mustangs Unlimited, and it's a really nice stamping. The metal is pretty heavy. I've dealt with thinner stuff, but this is consistent with what's in the car. So once I get all the seams separated, I'll be able to set this in, and of course it's welded on this edge right here, and then probably some up in those corners. There may be some welds up in here as well. And you can see all along here there's spot welds, and I'll have to break open those spot welds and get this piece off before I can even do some test fitting. Also, when I have this out, I'm going to do some repair work in here on this A-pillar. This is not structurally sound, and it needs to be much better than that before everything goes back together. I'll show you the other side as well. Again, I removed the plastic panel that was here, splash guard, and this is a much cleaner corner, but underneath as well, this one's got a lot of pinholes in it. So that's the project for today. Okay, I've started cutting loose this cowl panel, and I want to show you this piece right here. I'm not sure what they call it exactly, but it's got a series of spot welds that hold it on, and there's some weak areas here, spot weld there, one there, and then these were pretty weak up here in the top. I actually just chiseled underneath it and popped them out. I'm going to try to reuse this piece because it's probably better than what I could get aftermarket, which is some of these pieces here. looks like that one's probably the driver's side. You can see the stamping. This has a bit of some waviness to it, and it feels a little bit lighter than what this one does. You can kind of hear it. So I'm just going to set this up here just to show you. Not a great fit by any means, but I bought these just in case I wasn't able to reuse the old ones. So that's kind of a given. This isn't going to work well. Just want to show you that as I move along. Okay, I've done a little more cutting, and just wanted to show you a few things. What I did is I cut around this perimeter of this seam weld, or weld seam, however you want to label it. And I went on the inside, and I used a handy dandy air chisel, and I zipped it across right there, just to make it a little quicker. So now this piece can come right off. Okay. But one thing you need to make note of, see all these little screws, all these little pieces that held different things onto this car? Leave those there. Don't lose those, because when it comes time to transfer, you want to make sure you get the right screw in the right place. Also, I noticed that these plugs, there was one up here. Man, that thing just shattered when I touched it. So I'm going to take this off, get it out of the way. I just want to show you, whenever you're taking stuff like this apart, see, here's some of the fiberglass repairs that the owner had put in. All these little welds those little spot welds. Normally, depending on the location, you could take a drill and like a unibit and drill through these things, but you don't want to do that with this. You want to use either a spot face tool, and this also has an attachment on it for that makes a hook, or I use a heavy grinder. And what I would do is grind open these welds and separate them. Now, the reason I say don't drill through is because you want to keep this parent metal here solid. So when you drill through, you're just creating a hole. But if you can separate the seam, then the metal that's underneath remains solid, and you can put the new holes in your new panel in the same locations. And whenever you put it on, you can just plug weld those back together. So I'm going to work on separating out this lip here and getting the inner structure out of the way. Okay, I've drilled out some of the spot welds, and this is the top piece, the outer perimeter, let's say. You can see I didn't drill through the parent material of the bottom piece at all. And then I started up here on this front lip, separating it as well. And then once I get that off, then I'll come back in and hit these other welds to get this inner piece out. And then also there's some spot welds along here. This might be a challenge later on to how I'm going to bond that together. I may end up using panel bonding adhesive to mate this back to the inner kick panel, because I can't weld to it. If you look here, there is no flange. The flange is on the inside. So either I have to use panel bond or I have to weld it from the inside in some way. So, making a little progress. Alright, I've made a little more progress. I've got the lower half of the cowl out, and this is how it looks. You can still see some of how the rust was. Didn't come out too bad. This side was a little more solid, but I know it still has some issues underneath. And then here's some separation. There's an inner flange I was talking about on the other side. Of course, here's the outer flange. And what I like to see here, this is nice and solid. So that's a plus. The bad part is the other side isn't. So we'll go over there and a little better shot now. You can see just how bad this corner is. And what I'll end up doing is cutting out down here somewhere, remaking this. You can see that's the line or the edge of the original piece. And I'll try to duplicate that as best as I can. And then once that's all done, then I'll mock up the cowl and see how it fits. But it's not going to go in yet because I need to fix the floor piece there and there. And I may start working on the toe kick where this is all rotted out. Customer wants that rebuilt too. So we'll see how it goes from there. Okay, I've opened up the damaged area, removed the rust. I'm going to start off by making a piece, kind of hard to hold there. It's going to go inside of there, and then once I get that in place, then I'll build the outer section that'll cap over that, and that should take care of any problems at this point. Okay, you've seen that part of it. Now, this piece will slide right in there like a puzzle piece. And once that's welded in, then I can continue on with the cowl. And I had to make that piece, and basically I just cut it off of a piece of scrap that I had from an old floor piece. So, a little forming and shaping, and once it's welded and filled in, it'll be just like it's supposed to be. And then I can continue on. The next step I'm going to do is spray some etch weld, self-etching weld through primer, and that way everything underneath will be treated, and I can get all that welded up, and it won't cause any rust issues later. And there it is, all welded in place. Appears to have pretty close to the right angles. Come around the other side and I'll show you the passenger side. It's hard to see with all the rust, but pretty much the same thing. Next step will be mocking up the cowl to make sure it fits, but I'm still going to address the floor and probably these vents before I do anything else. So that's the biggest step so far.